In this video, I'm going to show you how to download files to Goodreader and then how to organize them based on like the class so you don't get all confused with them. So what I have here is I have a math worksheet. So wow, so my math teacher wants me to get this. How do I get it on Goodreader? Because right now it's on Safari. Look on various apps for this little box with an arrow button. If you hit that, it's called the open in button. I also call it the leave this app button. Look for Goodreader as an option in here then. So I see copy to Goodreader. If for any reason Goodreader is not available, hit more, and Goodreader should be, there it is, it should be a suggestion. But if it's available, hit copy to Goodreader, and it grabs the PDF, and now you have your own copy in Goodreader. And so you can, in fact, edit within Goodreader. So which one, it says, which of the following links is the right triangle? So I'm going to grab my little marker, I'm going to say save to this file, and I'm going to say, yay, that's my one. But the problem with this is then, it's just sitting in a workspace. So if I'm sitting in math class, I just came from science class, I just came from health class, like there's all sorts of files that's kind of sitting here. It's kind of like a desktop with this bunch of papers on it. We want to start organizing all these papers. So what you do to do that, you take your finger and you put on the left side of the screen and you pull to the right. Now I'm pulling a few times here. There we go. It took me a few times pulling to the right, but just keep pulling to the right and eventually it shows up. And this is showing what all your files look like, the names of your files. So I got my math files and stuff, but notice there's no folders. I'm going to make some folders down here. I'm going to do that in the bottom left by clicking Manage Files. I'm going to say plus folder. I'm going to make a folder for each class that I have. I'm just going to do a couple for your sake of time, but you can do this obviously on your own time. So I have science and I'll do math. We'll just keep it at that to keep it simple. Now, cool things within the folders is you could make subfolders. So if I go within science, and I know that every day there's going to be, lab reports, and there's going to be homework. So I'll do homework then, or whatever organization system works for you. Maybe you want to organize it by topic. So maybe I have rocks and I have volcanoes. As long as you have subfolders, so you don't have 80 science papers sitting in one place, it's going to make it easier to find things. Now, something I really recommend you do in each class as a subfolder is something called old work or old files or something. Basically a trash can for that class. So in science, once we're done learning about rocks, we're going to move on to the history of life. So we're not really going to talk about rocks that much more. You aren't going to need to reference your rocks worksheets a lot, but you don't want to throw them away because you never know if you need to reference it at some point, or you never know if maybe you forgot to turn it in and you need to actually submit it again. If you just throw it in your old work file, it's going to be easy to pull up, and your iPad's not going to mind that extra tiny amount of storage. These PDFs aren't that big. They're 34 KB. It's not going to really mind if you have 34K on your iPad. So, let me go back to my, I went back to Safari, so I went all around. Let me go back to my files here. I'm going to start moving files into my folders now. So I'm going to hit, there's two ways to do this. One, I can hit Manage Files, and you see it has that dot appear, and then I could say move to math, move it here, and it moves that file actually into the math folder. Another way you could do it is just by long clicking on a file. So I'm going to long click on these, hold, and then the same thing shows up. So I'm going to select all three files, and I'm going to say move these guys to science, and I'm going to say move them here. But then I realized something. I'm going to go into science here, hit done, go into science. I wanted to actually move this guy into lab reports, so I'm going to hold him, and I'm going to say move into lab reports, and I'm going to move it there, and so on. So you can kind of move things around as needed. It's really going to benefit you if you have this, what I call the desktop of Goodreader, if you have the desktop area clean, because if you have 18 different worksheets and you have to pull something up in time, it's going to be a lot harder than just going to, science, lab reports, there it is, I have it ready for you to go. So that's kind of what we're trying to get you to do with this. Take some time making the folders in your in a way that works for you. You could do them alphabetically, you could do the folders in order of what your class is. Whatever works for you that you could pull things up easily is going to be best.